What's going on, everybody? Todd Father 6 here, and we have something very special for your viewing pleasure. Back in March of 2023, I started a project with the free narrative experience, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Dagon, an HP Lovecraft story. Fantastic experience regarding the story of Dagon and a retelling through a visualization that allowed for people who are fans of storytelling to experience the story from a whole different perspective. Then, a few days later, we did one of the DLCs. And now, finally, we can finish out the trilogy with the Railway Horror. I've been looking forward to this for, the past 7-8 months. I've been waiting for this specific DLC to drop. And I cannot wait to bring it to you. So what do you say, everybody? Let's dive into the final installation of the Dagon DLC, the Railway Horror. All right. This is not an official Lovecraft story, even though it may sound familiar to some of you. It's an excerpt from the letter to his friend, Donald Wandry, from November 24th, 1927, in which he described one of his dreams, or rather, a nightmare. No, I'm excited. Let's get it. Let's get into it.
My dreams occasionally approach the fantastical in character, though falling somewhat short of coherence. One scene is especially stamped upon my recollection. That of a dank, fetid, reed-choked marsh under a gray autumn sky.
This is, as always, beautifully rendered, just fantastically done. Just amazing. Now, remember, there are some little hints, so that's where we need to go. That's our next location. But if this is like any of the other two experiences, there are going to be right there, little bits of trivia built into the game, which open up the mind and world of HP Lovecraft. In letters to his friend Donald Wanderley, Lovecraft described two of his dreams. After the writer's death, they were sold to the publisher of the Scienti Snaps Bizarre magazine and published in the form of short stories. The first one, titled The Very Old Folk, tells the story of one of the provinces of the Roman Republic and mysterious mountain inhabitants performing terrible rituals. The second one was titled The Thing in the Moonlight and was published in January of 1941. The publisher added a fabricated beginning and ending to it, in which Lovecraft, unable to free himself from the nightmare, mentally contacts a stranger. Other publishers later reprinted the story, unaware that some of the text was not authentic. It is this dream that we present here in its original form, without any additions. Oh, love it. Okay, I'm not seeing any other of the original Lovecraft symbology, so we're going to go ahead and go up to the mountain.
Cliff of lichen-crusted stone rising to the north.
We have to be careful. We have to watch and look at everything. That looks like a Reaper's staff. That's very interesting because every scene has a possibility to have some type of trivia built into it. And I really like getting those parts, but I'm not seeing any and I'm not hearing a click at all other than this one. So we'll do one more pass over. God, it's such an eerie and awesome setting. They did so good with it. Okay, so it looks like we're just going to go forward.
Impelled by some obscure quest, I ascended a rift or cleft in this beetling precipice.
Looks like parts of a train car. God, even the lights, the way the light refracts, they did. I can see why this took longer for them to complete. Just looking to see if there's anything I'm missing. From a production value, this game is significantly on a whole other level than the other two. I'm sorry. I keep using game because it's on a computer, but it's more of an experience, I guess is the best way. It's a narrative experience. It's a way for them to tell stories.
Mouths of many fearsome burrows extending from both walls into the depths of the stony plateau.
Even their use of the camera, like here, I'm panning to the left, but it's making it feel like instead I'm turning my head, like I'm looking up and turning my head a little bit as opposed to a full pan, which is super interesting what they did with the camera there. Those look like they're man-made holes. That's interesting. That looks like a boot print, maybe? Oh, there's something. The author's voice. The protagonist whose fate you follow is Lovecraft himself. After all, it's an account of his dream. That's why we wanted to reproduce his way of speaking and accent as faithfully as possible. Unfortunately, no recordings of his voice have survived. That's why we had to rely only on descriptions from numerous letters. Friends remember his voice as high-pitched, thin, and flat. However, it changed while reading or reciting. As the writer's wife, Sonia Green, recalls, his voice then became stronger, clearer, and deeply resonant. Lovecraft spoke with a New England accent, which, as the writer himself mentions, was characterized by the following. We don't sound any final R sounds like in ka, fa, and phonetically our common pronunciation is indistinguishable from ka, fa, and etc. Selected letters 3, 4, 20. In his youth, Lovecraft tested his singing skills and even recorded some of his rehearsals. My mother actually liked the results. Mothers are not always unbiased critics. But I saw to it that an accident soon removed the incriminating evidence. Later, I tried something less ambitious. This was a better success, but reminded me of so much of the way of a dying fox terrier that I very carelessly happened to drop it, the record, soon after it was made. I have since confined my artistic talents to literature. HP Lovecraft to Maurice W. Moe, 15th of May, 1918. So when they're talking a New England accent, if you have any experience with people from New England, especially like Boston, you can hear it. Having friends from Boston, Connecticut, Maine, New Hampshire, it's there. It's absolutely there. Some people work on getting rid of it, but it will come out eventually when you talk to them.
At several points, the passage was roofed over by the choking of the upper parts of the narrow fissure. These places being exceedingly dark and forbidding the perception of such burrows as may have existed there. In one such dark space, I felt conscious of a singular accession of fright. As if some subtle and bodiless emanation from the abyss were engulfing my spirit. But the blackness was too great for me to perceive the source of my alarm.
Interesting. Okay, let's look around. We can't go much further this way. The waviness of this is very concerning. very ethereal. It's a really good effect, but like between the waviness that you're seeing around the picture, like it's going all the way around, and then the tightness that you have as you look up at that circle right in the dead center of the screen. For me anyway, it gives a claustrophobic feeling. One of the most terrorizing feelings that I ever feel in any type of media. It is probably one of the best tools to use, in my opinion, in a horror experience. Oh, that's gorgeous.
On a tableland of moss-grown rock and scanty soil, lit up by a faint moonlight which had replaced the expiring orb of day. Casting my eyes about, I beheld no living object, but was sensible of a very peculiar stirring far below me amongst the whispering rushes of the pestilential swamp I had lately quitted.
This is gorgeous. Oh my, look, I mean, just look at that. Look how well the light plays, the refraction of the light plays. It's responsive. Oh, it's fantastic. Okay, that's our move forward. With as much movement as we have, I have a feeling that there's something we're going to need to see. Let's see here. And then the fog, the density of the fog, increasing the anxiety because of whence we came. So very good. God, so good. Is there anything in the sky? There is not. And then the soundtrack. The soundtrack is just fantastic. Looks like we're headed to that rock formation. Looks almost like shale. Just super thin sediment. I think that's a dead tree. It doesn't look like it's a structure. That's an unsettling sound, isn't it? That looks more like a structure now. But so does that. What is that? Really? That's super cool. And look how like you release and like you can see some of that reflecting like glittery gold, but when you zoom in, look at that. The detail is just so good. That reminds me very much of some of the puzzle pieces that we've worked with in Lovecraftian games before, like Transient or Continuum or Canarium or Darkness Within. Those puzzle-based games that are often set in a Lovecraftian-influenced universe. Very much reminiscent of that. Or The Shore, which was another one that very, very much relied heavily on similar visuals and feel. Oh.
Walking for some distance, I encountered the rusty tracks of a street railway and the worm-eaten poles which still held the limp and sagging trolley wire.
Okay. Still looking for some of those clues. I'm not seeing any. Borrowed concepts. Lovecraft believed that authors could make their stories more credible by exchanging ideas and drawing from each other's works. The best example is the famous invented book Necronomicon, which also appeared in the works of his friends such as Robert Bloch, later creator of Psycho, and Robert E. Howard, creator of Conan the Barbarian. Its presence in the works of various other writers has even led to the mythologicalization of the Necronomicon and the appearance of references to the book in countless novels, films, and other works of pop culture. Lovecraft himself also used elements of other people's works, such as the books Unausprechlichen Kulten, Nameless Cults by Robert E. Howard, and Der Vermis Mysterius, Mysteries of the Worm by Robert Bloch. Hastur, a creature borrowed from Robert W. Chambers, author of The King in Yellow, who was also inspired by Ambrose Bierce. He also used his land of Carcosa, which later appeared in the TV series True Detective. Sothagoa, a creature invented by Clark A. Smith, Lovecraft slightly changed its appearance and included it in his stories. We wanted to follow this tradition, so we included objects from 3 other games created by our friends. I wonder if you'll be able to recognize them. Okay, so that's got to be one of them, though I don't necessarily recognize it. Interesting. That's a really cool idea, though. Like it is in the spirit of what Lovecraft believed, which is really cool.
Soon came upon a yellow vestibuled car numbered 1852 of a plain double-trucked type, common from 1900 to 1910. It was untenanted, but evidently ready to start.
This reminds me of the disappearance of Ethan Page. Railway. The railway has always fascinated people. The mighty power of the machines, the freedom to travel vast distances, the romanticism of almost unrestricted exploration, thousands of strangers passing each other every day. But also the desolate train stations, dreamlike journeys through the night, fatal accidents, and dangerous strangers. No wonder that this topic attracted horror and fantasy writers, from Charles Dickens' The Signal Man, through Robert Bloch's award-winning That Hellbound Train, to Clive Barker's The Midnight Meat Train. It's also impossible not to mention the most important Polish weird fiction writer, Stefan Grabinski, whose most famous collection of stories, The Motion Demon, is dedicated to the railway. You'll be able to get acquired with his work through our next game. Ooh. Okay. And by the way, the steam locomotive was first used to transport passengers in 1825. Wonder if that has anything to do with the numbers dreamed by Lovecraft. It could be. It very well could be. But yes, this reminds, just the overall design, but it could be the fact that they use the same engine. I don't know.
The trolley being on the wire and the air brake pump now and then throbbing beneath the floor.
Supposed to get on the train? I guess.
I boarded it and looked vainly about for the light switch. Noting as I did so the absence of controller handle, which implied the brief absence of the motorman. Then I sat down in one of the cross seats toward the middle, awaiting the arrival of the crew and starting of the vehicle.
Why does the glass seem frosted over? Even interior. I don't see anything. Okay.
Presently, I heard a swishing in the sparse grass toward the left and saw the dark forms of two men looming up in the moonlight. They had the regulation caps of a railway company, and I could not doubt but that they were the conductor and motorman. Then one of them sniffed with singular sharpness and raised his face to howl at the moon. The other dropped on all fours to run toward the car. I leapt up and at once raced madly out of that car. And away across endless leagues of plateau till exhaustion waked me. Doing this not because the conductor had dropped on all fours, but because the face of the motorman was a mere white cone, tapering to one blood-red tentacle.
What the heck? What is going on? Oh. Well then. Okay. Well, that was Bit Golem's Dagon, the Railway Horror DLC. I love what they do. I really, really do. I want to look and see what else they have to offer. They're definitely one of the studios that I want to support more. Again, they did a bang up job telling the story for this game. I don't like that cliffhanger ending though. Like, I'm assuming HP Lovecraft just woke up from there, like most people do from dreams.
Fairy stories have been accompanying men for centuries. They have many faces and forms. But
what's this?
Why do we enjoy being afraid so much? During our therapy, I'll try to
Oh, yes, we're definitely interested in that. But it's been on the wish list for a while. Dr. Emerson's Nocturnes. Oh, that's going to be fun too, everybody. But thank you for taking this journey with me. The trilogy is complete. Unless I decide to release more HP Lovecraft stories in this format, this will be it for this series. I've really enjoyed bringing these stories to you. And I really, really do hope that in the near future, we'll be able to do more like this. Until then, thank you for hanging out and watching, and have a good one. Hey everybody, ToddFather6 here signing off. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you want to see more, click the videos that are listed or hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications in order to be notified when I've got more posted. Until then, as always, be good, be kind, be safe. See you next time.